The rapper had been open about his battle with depression. Now, his death has raised questions about the support that artists receive. Joining us this morning is Arts and Culture Director General Vusumuzi Mkhize. Vusumuzi, good morning, and thanks for your time. Let's first talk about the memorial services planned for HHP. Do you have any more details for us? We know one is happening tomorrow. What other details do you have for us?
Yes, no, good morning. The details would be that tomorrow at Baseline, there would be a memorial service. The artists have amazingly got together to work and make sure that it's a success. I think the engagement that it will be starting around 12. But when I spoke to Jabulani Tsambo, who is at the center of organizing, he indicated that they will then finalize details around 10 today. And we should be able to then to have all the details, but definitely tomorrow at Baseline here in Johannesburg.
Now, when we have a tragedy like this happen, Vusumuzi, when it is a well-loved, a well-known figure in the industry, in arts and culture, music in this case, what is the involvement of the department like arts and culture in sort of what happens after this? Support for the family, events like this, the memorial service and the funeral. What role do you play?
We play quite a number of roles, because we firstly have to engage with the family, because we need to respect the wishes of the family in just determining what type of support they require without necessarily imposing ourselves. Once the family has indicated the support they require, it can be anything from securing of the venue, can be issues of catering, can be the issues of the burial itself, the coffin, whether they would like to have a statue. But also we would then engage with them in relation whether it's transport that they need and any other emotional or psychological support that they might need. So we work hard towards that, and for this one, for instance, already MEC Mazibu has been in engagement directly with the organizers in relation to the support they will need tomorrow.
Well, and that is support, you know, once something like this has happened. But let's talk about while the person is still alive. And we know HHP had spoken about depression, spoken of his challenges as well. Do you get involved at all? Does the department have any sort of support structure? I mean, this all is part of arts and culture, and you're countrywide. How do you get involved, or do you get involved at all?
It's a very difficult issue, because remember, it's a patient who comes to a doctor and say, I need help, I need support. And if we look at the situation where our artists face depression, you'll find that they make it so solitude, alone, and suffering. And HHP fortunately had raised this issue. And unfortunately there was not much done to say, what support can we give? And he had not come to say, I need 1, 2, 3. And there was a time when he indicated that no, he's now getting better. But he was a brave young man who really put this to the fore. That let's not just keep quiet when you are having this type of depression.
Let his death not be in vain, I suppose, is what you're trying to say there. But are there any support structures? Does arts and culture, does the industry itself provide a go-to place or a go-to person? And in this case, yes, of course, we can always say the family would have known and might have done something. What about those who are around him, like a manager, record companies, whoever else? What other structures are there that this person could go to and say, this is what's happening to me and I don't think I can cope?
Industry-wise, I would be misleading the nation to say there is specific industry-wise. But there are various institutions that deal with depression. Some of them work from 8 to 8 in the evening. They've got what we call hotlines that people can approach, but sometimes it's a very private matter. People wouldn't like to have it exposed. So they would contact those institutions. But I think the problem that we're facing is this stigmatization of mental health. And then because people think if you're saying I have depression, it's like it's a no-go, yet it is a reality, and it's like any other illness that you should come and get attention and be supported.
So what do we learn from this? I mean, do you think as arts and culture it is time now maybe to get out there and say, listen, artists, after what has happened here, we know there are issues when it comes to money. We know there are issues with what happens to you when you want to retire, and we know that's been a problem, that many of them have been left with nothing at the end of their careers, and people have had to scrape together to even have funerals for many of our artists who've passed, even the older ones. So is it time now to maybe just give out more support to our artists, our struggling artists also?
Yes, it is. There are various forms that we are engaged with at this stage in trying to deal with those. One of them is to deal with these issues of just the law in terms of their copyright, in terms of contracting, but also the requirement in terms of training and education, emotional intelligence courses that they should go through. We've been approached by a number of artists who have raised this frustration, because as they are lifted up in terms of success, but when you are then seen with this figure that you are very, very successful, suddenly things don't go right, you discover that in fact the way they do contracting is exploitative. So we're working together with them at this stage, trying to find a best mechanism in which, particularly in terms of contracting and copyright and IP, those things can protect them. But also there is a process in Parliament to try and deal with the bill itself that will really secure their rights.
Well, I'm glad to hear that something is being done. Thank you very much.